The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on Tom's Radio Toronto are entirely those of the hosts, guests, and callers who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of Tom's Radio Toronto or its staff. These broadcasts are presented and made public as entertainment and general information only, in the hope that they will be entertaining and informative to listeners. They are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or mitigate in any way any disease or condition or to promote any specific lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice, nor is the information presented necessarily accurate or verifiable.
Isang magandang hapon pong muli sa lahat ng ating mga kababayan anywhere in the world na naaabot po ng ating Tom's Radio Toronto. Ito po rin po yung kababayan mo. Ito po ang ating Balitang Bayan News at 4. Well, fewer than 2,000 new COVID-19 cases. Sa good news po dito po sa Ontario. For the second day in a row, Ontario has logged fewer than 2,000 new COVID cases. Health officials are reporting 1,588 new cases of the novel coronavirus today, the lowest single-day case count since March 24. There were 1,616 infections reported Tuesday or yesterday, 2,170 last Monday, 2,199 on Saturday, and 2,584 last Sunday. Today's new infections bring the 7-day rolling average of daily case to 2,183, down from 2,370 a week ago. 19 additional deaths related to COVID-19 were logged in the last 24 hours, bringing the total death count in Ontario to 8,525. Of those deaths, the majority are people over the age of 80. They have been 5,394 COVID-19 deaths in people within that age group. According to the province epidemiology report, 2,599 of deaths related to COVID-19 were people between the ages of 60 and 79. An additional 462 deaths were people between the ages of 40 and 59, while 65 deaths were people between the ages of 20 and 39. 4 people under the age of 19 have died after contracting COVID-19. Hospitalizations related to COVID-19 in Ontario continue to decline. Good news, as of today, Wednesday, today there are at least 1,401 people in hospital being treated for the novel coronavirus. So, nakita po natin, we could see how the health protocol being imposed by the province, of course, through the orders of our Premier Doug Ford, is reaping fruits right now. Nakita po natin, bumababa ng todo. Kaya nga, yung sinasabing sobre kang higpit ng premier ng probinsya, dapat lang po yun. Yan, nakikita po natin ang nangyayaring kaganapan, ika nga, no? Bumababa po ang COVID cases. Although dahan-dahan po, pero patuloy ang pagbaba. Bumaba na noon dati 4,000 yan, tapos nag 3,000. Ngayon, nag 2,000, bumaba na ng 2,000. Pababa na ng pababa. Sana nga po, bumaba na to sa single digit. Pag bumaba na po yan siguro sa single digit, tapos na yung COVID. Ang magiging kwampo niyan, ang dahilan, ang pagdami, pagdating ng napakaraming vaccine po. Sapagkat milyon-milyon na po ang sinabi ng ating pamahalaan ng federal government ni Justin Trudeau na darating na po ang milyong-milyong Pfizer, Moderna, at iba pa pong mga bakuna. Pero nagtataka lang ako, di na nila binabanggit yata yung AstraZeneca. Mukhang ayaw na, samantalang sa Europe, yun po ang ginagamit nila. Well, marami po kasi nga na nagkaroon ng side effect, yung blood clotting sa utak nung ibang mga tinamaan po rito. Not that much, pero enough siguro para sa ating mga health officials at saka mga government officials na ipatigil muna. Tingnan po muna natin kung anong kaganapan sa ginagawa pang investigasyon. Although, nakita naman po natin the Prime Minister, the premiers ng mga probinsya po rito, Ontario, kung saan-saan pa, ay AstraZeneca ang ipinanturok sa kanila. Kahit nga po yung ibang mga critic ni President, or rather Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, yung sa PC, sa NDP, mga AstraZeneca po yan to show na may tiwala sila. Tiwala lang po ang kailangan dyan eh. Kung wala kang bilib yan, ba't ka magpapaturok pa kung wala kang bilib? Kaya nga, iba nga po ang takbo ng pag-iisip ng ibang mga taong hindi naniniwala sa vaccine. Ayaw magpabakuna. Hindi mo alam kung natatakot o paniniwala nila, kultura nila, or what. Ang kultura ng Pinoy, laging safe eh. Sabi nga, kumbaga sa larong tanching safe lang ako dyan. Yung harangan taga, tumbang preso, pa-safe lang ang mga Pinoy. Sasabihin, walang kwenta, doon papabakuna. Sabihin mo may Pfizer na dumating. Baka makakaripas pa ng takbo yan. Bit-bit ang tsinelas para mauna sa pila. Ganun lang naman yan eh. So una alanganin, pero pagdating ng araw, tansya-tansya, sige-sige, bira ng bira. Pinoy pa. Ayaw pa huhuli sa mga bakbakan Ang Pinoy, grabe. Pero dito po sa Ontario, ako natutuwa nga, nakikita po natin, hindi naman po natin na kinritiko, ika nga natin, yung ginawang health protocols ng ating probinsya ni Doug Ford. Hinangaan nga natin siya sapagkat nandun yung kanyang yung tapang Baliwala sa kanya yung political setback kung sakali man na pumalpak yung kanyang ginawa, no? Maganda resulta Maganda resulta. If elections will be held today, palagay nyo ba mananalo si Doug Ford sa ginawa ng kanyang napakagandang health protocols? Opo. Kundi tumaas yung, hindi tumaas, kung hindi bumagsak itong infection, baka kahit na 10 taon pa mag-election, hindi mananalo yan. Alam naman nyo ang mga botante, lalo dito sa Canada, sa Europe, sa Amerika, trust, confidence, respect, ang kanilang tinitingnan sa paghahalal ng kandidato at mamumuno sa bansa. Sa Pilipinas, respeto. Ayan, di ba? Pagkilala, pagpapalaga at pira. Natawa kami ni DJ Ricky J. Ricky Q. Pira, kundi pira, money, datong. Di ba? Pag walang pera ang kandidato ron, mananalo ba? Never. Never in your life, only in your dreams could you win an election in the Philippines without money. Nun nga power and money kung wala ka nung araw na nung hindi pa martial law, usong-uso yung private army Pumisan nga, mas marami pang private army kaysa sa butante sa isang barangay ano gagawin? At saka sa Pilipinas lang po, only in the Philippines could you see dead people going to the voting places. Di ba? Nakakaboto ang patay. Sa ibang bansa po, hindi po. Pag bumangon ng patero, takbuhan na ang mga tao. Sa Pilipinas, pag bumangon ng patay, asahan nyo, nasa presinto, bumoboto. Ayun Kaya congratulations. Ngayon pa lang ako, congratulate ko na si Doug Ford Maganda itong nagawa niyang huling pati nga yung golf course eh. Pero talagang dami talaga oh. Ang daming mga golf aficionados dito. They're waiting for the decision of Doug Ford and the provincial health expert to open. Golf courts, tennis courts. Sabi nila, this is the safest sports. Na it is a non-contact sports. Actually, anong non-contact sports? Ang tennis. O yun na lang golf. Sabi nila, golf, pak, pumapalo ka. Non-contact. Ito po, ito, totoo to. Yung aking parang kapatid na si Ray Fortaleza, ng Suri, nakikinig sila po ngayon. Nag-golf silang magkakaibigan. Sabi nila, ang golf ka, hindi contact sports. Dating national boxer eh. Quarter finalist ng Montreal Olympics itong si Ray Fortaleza. Tinamaan ng bola. Alam ba, bola ng golf, DJ Ricky, manliit yun, pero buong tinamaan ng bola sa mata. Sa mata, ewan ko po ngayon kung ano nangyari. Muntik na akong maluhar, baka akong mabulag tong kapatid ko eh. Wala pa akong balita. Sabi niya, tinitingnan pa sapagkat it is purely an accident. Hindi naman sinadya yun eh. Bakit ka ako, akala ko ba hindi contact sport yan? Ba't nagkaroon ng contact? Kaya nga po, ewan ko, sa isang banda, mahirap din eh. Alam mo kasi, pagkatapos mag-golf ng magkakaibigan, diretso yan sa kwan. Doon sa kainan, inuman, golf na ang kasunod noon. Habang nag-golf, nagbibidahan. Sa lipaw po ang laway ng mga yan. Nag-golf, iba nagsisigarilyo pa. Walang sigarilyo, may vape pa. Yung ganun. Hindi ba? Ang ating sinasabi. Hayaan nyo na muna. Ilang linggo na lang mabubuksan na yan eh. Pag bumaba, itong infection rate dito sa buong Ontario, maniwala kayo dili, baka next week, bukas na naman yung golf na yun eh. Baka yung mga tennis court, basketball court, bukas na yun eh. Kita nyo nga, na first time in so many years, ilang taon po na yun na hindi nalalaban ng playoff ang Toronto. Yung ice hockey natin. Kita nyo ngayon, lumalaban sa Habs. Sa Vancouver, may pustahan si Torrey, tsaka mayor ng Vancouver. Game 1, ayan. Pag inabot ng Game 6 daw, bubuksan yung hockey, yung hockey coliseum. Biruin mo yun. Ia-allow manood ng 6,000 na tao. First time yun. Ako wala akong hilig sa hockey eh. Sapagkat ang hilig ko ay boxing, basketball, baseball. At higit sa lahat, boxing nga, saka yung MMA ngayon, yung UFC. Ice hockey wala, hindi ko nakikita yung puck eh. Pag nanonood ako, ikaw ba DJ Ricky, nanonood ka bang ice hockey? Hindi mo nakikita yung puck eh, no? Yung pong ice hockey, ilalabas nila sa TV, Filipino edition. Si Coach Mike Cruz, yung kaibigan natin, ang cover sa Filipino. Yan sa baseball sana, baka muntik na kami mag-asa. Pwede kung kumover ng baseball sa Tagalog. Pero ice hockey, nako, kahit may maganda-gandang bayad yan, ayoko. Hindi ko naintindihan eh. Ano ba sa Tagalog yung puck? Baka imbis na P ang magamit ko, F. Nagkataran to doon na. Baka maputol yung dila. Di ba? Makita mo bubuksan yung ice hockey. Magandang balita yan. First game. Siyempre, Toronto tayo kahit na anong sports. Kaya nga na sinasabi natin, congratulations yan. Dire-diretso na yung pagbagsak ng COVID-19 na yan dito sa Ontario. Hintayin na lang po ninyo mga golf aficionados. Nung araw nag-golf din ako, nagte-tennis din ako eh. Meron nga akong tennis racket sa likod ng kotse ko, hindi ko nagagamit. Simula nung ako na-aksidente yung dalawang tuhod ko. Alam niyo po, marami naglalaro ng tennis eh. Ang dami nilang mga racket. Kahit nga hindi naglalaro ng tennis, daming racket eh. Kumita lang ng pera, DJ. Yun ang mga racket. Sinasabi natin. Anyways, mga balitang Ontario pa rin. Toronto District School Board will ask families to choose in-person or virtual learning by mid-August. Ayan, malapit na naman pong may klase pa pero sa susunod na pasukan. Ha? Dateline Toronto, May 19, following the Ontario government's decision to allow families to choose either in-person or virtual learning for the 2021-2022 school year, the Toronto District School Board has provided an update to families, clarifying that the decision will not need to make, or rather will not need to make until mid-August. Ayun. The decision to educate children via in-person schooling or remote learning will be made by families by completing an online selection form that will be sent to parents in August, TDSB says. According to TDSB, however, the virtual school, elementary and secondary, that are currently in place will not be offered for the 2021-2022 school year. Instead, virtual learning will be provided through home schools and will include live instruction from the home school or a group of schools. By mid-August, the board expects to be in better position to provide information about health and safety measures for in-person learning and will expect higher levels of vaccination among TDSB staff, students, and families. Because of this, TDSB is expecting that more families will opt for the in-person learning option for the 2021-2022 school year. Palagay ko nga po, sa tingin ko, kailangan na sigurong mag-in-person eh. Halos ang taon ng yung mga batang nasa bahay lang eh. Nabuburyong na rin eh. Summer pa ngayon. Eh, hindi pa naman tapos ang eskwela eh. Ang pasukan po ng eskwela dito, September. Okay? Eh, ano ba ngayon? May. O, malapit ng bakasyon next month. June, July. Bakasyon ng June, July yata. O, July, August. O, diba? Eh, ibig po nating sabihin, bigyan naman natin, palagay ko naman by that time siguro na magbubukas na eskwela ng September, mababa na ang infection rate ng buong Ontario. So ngayon pa lang po, May, nakita nyo, bumababa na. Hanggat maraming natuturokang vaccine, habang marami pong nababakunahan dito sa ating probinsya, sa ating mga syudad, lalo pong mamamatay ang kalaban natin na yan. Kahit anong galing nila, huwag naman tayong mamili ng vaccine, ng bakuna, whatever is in front of you, pasaksak na natin. Ngayon lang po, kaya ako di nabakuna, wala pa pong available sa amin Although, nakarehistro na, tatawagan na lang pag dumating yan. Palagay ko, in the next few days or weeks, andyan na yan. Ako, turo ka agad, kaliwat kanan pa. Kung yung first dose, kaliwa, sa kanan yung second dose. Kahit ano yan, huwag lang AstraZeneca. Hindi naman. Kung ano yung libre. Sabay, libre rito. Sa Pilipinas, malapit nang ibenta yan. Pag hindi kayo nagpatusok ngayon, hanggang sinasabi ng Pangulo, magpaturok na kayo. Sapagkat mabebenta na yan. Ataga. Ayun. Oops, nalak na rin yung boot. Mahirap na. Well, ang po sinasabi natin, yung mga parents po, alam namin, we know that the children, your kids, studying from home, there are a lot of problems confronting these kids. Well, sometimes these kids aged 6 up to 12, or 6 up to 10, or 7 up to 14. Sometimes they become irritated. They're tired of having schools, waiting for the teacher's instruction, doing a lot of assignments. They will give it to you through iPads, computer, laptop. Wow. I could feel them. I could feel them. But Previously, when we were still kids, we don't have like that. There is no such thing as iPad, computer, telephone. Only television, black and white. Only radio, stereo. That's what we're using before. Ngayon, sa Pilipinas, meron pa rin pong ganun eh. May mga bayan puro, mga liblib na lugar. Ha? Ala pong napapakinggan ng mga tao kundi ang transistor. Yung ganon. Noong ko pa sinasabi, kung ako ay Pangulo ng Pilipinas, kung ako sakali lang, inadya, ika nga, ang una kong gagawin, lahat ng malalayong barangay DJ Ricky, palalagyan ko ng solar panel Solar yung malalaki mismo, lahat ng barangay doon. Yung malapit sa barangay hall, punong-puno ng solar panel para masasagap na init ng araw, bibigyan ng kuryente. Pag hindi nagkaroon lahat ng television yung buong Pilipinas hindi ba? Bakit hindi magawa? Alam mo kung bakit? May kumokontra. Unang-una, sino kukontra? Mga no permanent address. Unang-una, NPA, mga terorista. Pipigilin lahat yung magpupunta ron sa magtatayo ng solar panel. Bakit? Hindi nila makokontrol yung mga tao. Pag lumiwanag doon sa isang barangay, lahat ng tao ron makikita, lahat ng gumagapang sa... Wala ng NPA. Kasi mabibigyan mo na ng magandang buhay ang lahat ng barangay At saka alam nyo kung sino pang tumututol, yung mga mahilig kumurap. Yung mga matay, pikit na ganyan. Kukurap-kurap. Paano kang kikita nga naman? Hindi ba? Imbis na ang halaga ng solar panel 50 mil, ibebenta na 1 milyon. Sino pa magbibigay ron? Wala na yung solar panel. Wala na. Ang mahal kumita na. Ang daming mga dapat gawin wala kung nailagay solar panel nung araw pa, maniwala kayo dili. Sabihin na natin nagka-pandemic. Kung may kuryente rin sa isang lugar, di may TV sila. Sabihin ng walang ABS-CBN, may Channel 5. May People's TV 4 pag-aari ng gobyerno yan. Pwedeng palakasin ng todo niyan. Di ba may Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 9, Channel 13. Ang daming channel dun pwede naman lahat yun. May Eagle Channel, may channel ang Iglesia ni Cristo, may channel ang mga Jesus Lord, marami, lahat ng SMNI, ang dami Pwedeng gamitin hindi lang naman ABS-CBN ang malakas. Nagkataon lang, malakas silang kumita. Lahat ng magagaling natin, mga gwapo't magagande, kami lang ni Ricky hindi pumirma ng kontrata. Gusto namin independency. Wala kaming independent kami. Freelance. Ayan. Well, malalaman po natin kung ano mangyayari ngayong August. Sana, tingin ko pwede na ibalik ang face-to-face na schooling. Wala na yan. Wag na po nating mga bata. Ewan ko, babakunahan na yata yung 12 to 15 Pero yung maliliit pa siguro, hindi naman babakunahan yun Yung mga, yung high school, yun. Babakunahan na siguro. Kaya, yung mga bata, pag sinabihan mong, don't talk with each other, maghapong nakatamemi yan pero yung mga high school, don't talk with each other. Who you? Sasagutin ka lang. Who you? Alright. Well, sa Amerika po, nagpasa na raw, US Congress passes bill to fight. Alam nyo kung anti-Asian crimes. Pag-uusapan po natin yan sa pagbabalik ng news at 4. Sandali lamang po.
Are you an international student who has recently graduated from a Canadian post-secondary school? If you have graduated from a designated learning institution, you could be eligible to apply for permanent residency under the new pathway set out by Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. Contact Genesis Immigration Consulting.
From Washington, Dateline, May 19, U.S. lawmakers yesterday sent an anti-hate bill to U.S. President Joe Biden's desk that aims to prevent violence against Asian Americans following an alarming rise in attacks, including murders, during the coronavirus pandemic. The House of Representatives passed the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act with a strong bipartisan vote of 364 to 62, weeks after it cleared the Senate with nearly unanimous support. Biden backs the legislation which will speed up reviews of COVID-19 related hate crimes against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, expand public awareness about the problem, and provide state and local governments with guidance on how to combat hate crimes. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said it was critical to send a unified message on the importance of strengthening the nation's defenses against anti-AAPI violence. Together, these steps will make a significant difference to address hate crimes in America, not only during this pandemic, but for years to come, Pelosi said on the House floor. White House spokeswoman Jen Psaki tweeted that Biden looks forward to signing this important legislation into law at the White House later this week. More than 6,600 incidences of anti-AAPI discrimination and violence were reported between March 2020 and March 2021, Pelosi said. Seniors had been attacked and businesses vandalized, while videos have shown Asian Americans getting stabbed, beaten up, and otherwise confronted in public spaces. These attacks are even more shameful in light of the heroism of our AAPI community during the pandemic, Pelosi said, noting that the large number of Asian Americans serving as emergency responders and healthcare providers. The worst attack came in March in Georgia, where a 21-year-old man was arrested and charged in the murder of 8 people, including 6 women of Asian origin who work at massage parlors in and around Atlanta. Yan po ngayon ang kaganapan. Medyo humupa na po yung Black Lives Matter. Ito naman pong pinasisikat nila because of the COVID vaccine. Anti-Asian crimes naman po ang lumulutang. Masyado nilang pinagbibintangan ng mga Chinese na siya pong nagkalat ng virus sa buong mundo. Hindi naman po ginusto yun eh. Hindi naman, they did not do it. Well, I don't know, probably because of what former President Donald Trump has been saying, Chinese virus that started this anti-Asian crimes. Well, sana nga po mapigil to. Wag naman po sana, napakarami pong mga Pilipino, Asian nationals, Chinese, Japanese, Koreans, Well, Vietnamese, Thailander, Malaysian, everybody from Asia, they have been contributing a lot to the health welfare of America. Well, businesses, and everything, anything under the sun, they're trying to support and give assistance to whatever the Americans are doing. Sana po, wag naman ganun. Wag naman ganun. Well, sa nangyayari pong bakbakan, gera sa Israel, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to press ahead with the fierce military offensive in the Gaza Strip, pushing Black Wednesday against calls from the United States to wind down the operation that has left hundreds dead. Netanyahu's top comments marked the first public rift between the two close allies since the fighting began last week and could complicate international efforts to reach a ceasefire. Israel continued to pound targets in Gaza with airstrike today, while Palestinian militants bombarded Israel with rocket fired throughout the day. In another sign of potential escalation, militants in Lebanon fired a barrage of rockets into northern Israel. After a visit to military headquarters, Netanyahu said he greatly appreciates the support of the American president, but said Israel will push ahead to return the calm and security to you, citizens of Israel. He said he is determined to continue this operation until its aim is met. He spoke shortly after U.S. President Joe Biden told Netanyahu that he expected a significant de-escalation today on the path to a ceasefire, the White House said. Meantime, Egyptian negotiators have also been working to halt the fighting, and an Egyptian diplomat said top officials were waiting for Israel's response to ceasefire offer. The diplomat spoke on condition of anonymity in line with regulations. Meanwhile, German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas said he would fly to the region Thursday for talks with Israelis and Palestinians. At least 227 Palestinians had been killed, including 64 children and 38 women, with 1,620 people wounded, according to the Gaza Health Ministry, which does not break the numbers down into fighters and civilians. Hamas and Islamic Jihad say at least 20 of their fighters had been killed, while Israel says the number is at least 130. Some 58,000 Palestinians have fled their homes. 12 people in Israel, including a 5-year-old boy and a 16-year-old girl and a soldier, have been killed. In Gaza, one of the Israeli airstrikes destroyed the home of an extended family. Among those killed Wednesday or today were a reporter for Hamas-run Al-Aqsa Radio and 2 people who died when warning missiles crashed into their apartment. The Israeli military said it was striking a militant-turned network in southern Gaza with 52 aircrafts hitting 40 underground targets. The fighting, the worst since 2014 war between Israel and Hamas, has ignited protests around the world and inspired Palestinians in Israel and the occupied territories to call a general strike yesterday. It was a rare collective action that spanned boundaries central to decades of failed peace efforts. Israel captured the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza in the 1967 Mid-East War, territories the Palestinians want for their future state. Well, mahirap pong unawain ito. Ang tagal na niyan eh. Kaya nga po noong 1967 Mideast War, nakuha ng Israel nga naman yung West Bank, East Jerusalem at saka yung Gaza na gustong mabawi ng Palestinians. Mahirap po natin until such time na magkaroon po talaga ng mga bansa o United Nations Council. Nag-umpisa na po yan eh. Yung France nag-propose ng resolution with the UN Security Council in coordination with Egypt and Jordan para magkaroon po ng ceasefire in the Israel-Gaza conflict. Wala pa pong reply ang kahit sino sa kanila. Kahit nga si President Biden tinawagan na si Benjamin Netanyahu ng Israel. Pero sabi ni Netanyahu, this is our country. I will bring peace to the citizens of Israel. Ibig sabihin, gagawin nila yung kanilang karapatang idepensa ang sarili. Mahirap po, it's God only who could stop this. Magtatagal po yan, ilang siglo pa po ang abutin unless ngayon po ay magkaroon talaga ng lasting pangmatagalang ceasefire. Mahirap po, it's gera-gera. Ang dami pong mga Pilipino. Ang nandun kulang-kulang 30,000. Ito po, may istorya tayo dyan. Mga overseas Filipino workers sa Israel. Yung walang bomb shelter ang tinutuluyang bahay. Kasi po yung mga bahay doon ng Israeli, may mga bomb shelter yan, usually sa basement. Kapag nakakarinig na sila ng mga siren ng airstrike, babaan na yan. Kahit po bumagsak yung bahay na tamaan bomba, hindi sila abutin sa basement, sa bomb shelter. Ito po ang balita para sa ating mga Pilipino. Muling pinalalahanan ng embahada o rather ng embahada ng Pilipinas sa Israel ang mga Pinoy doon na mag-ingat dahil sa patuloy na palitan ng bomba ng Israel forces at Hamas militants. Well, sa ulat na natanggap, sinabing pinapayuhan ng mga Pinoy na manatili na lang sa bahay at kaagad na magtago sa pinakamalapit na bomb shelter sa sandaling tumunog na ang sirena na may paparating ng bomba. Makabubuti rin naman na iwasan ang mga matataong lugar lalo na kung may nagaganap na kaguluhan at mga protesta. Kabilang sa mga lugar na tinukoy ang West Bank, Bethlehem, Hebron, Jericho, at ibang lugar sa Jerusalem. Pinaalalahanan din ng mga Pinoy ng ating embahada na huwag lumapit sa Israeli forces na nakapwesto sa mga nabanggit na lugar. Kung sakaling maipit sa kaguluhan at kailangan ng tulong, maaaring tumawag po ang mga OFW doon sa Home Front Command 104. Municipality Call Center 106 hanggang 108. At sa Philippine Embassy Hotline, ito po, marami po sa ating nakikinig sa Israel, mga Pilipino. Hindi ko lang po alam ngayon kung may nag-text po sa atin Mr. Bukad ang apelido, nandun siya sa Israel ngayon. Pag tumutunog na raw po yung takbo na sila sa ilalim ng bomb shelter. Ito po, pag nagka-problema, kung nakikinig man po ang mga Pinoy dyan, plus 972 54 466 and 1188. Yan po ang Philippine Embassy Hotline para po sa ating mga kababayan na nandyan sa Israel. May dalawa pong nag-text sa atin doon na napakinggan nila tayo, nagbabalita sila na sila po ay talagang ninenervyos, lalo na't mga sumasabog ang bomba. Plus 972 54 466 1188. Yan po ang hotline ng Philippine Embassy sa Israel. Sa ngayon, wala pa ring isasagawang mass repatriation pero ililikas ang mga OFW na nagtatrabaho sa kanilang mga amo na walang bomb shelter. Mahirap po naman talaga yon. Hindi naman po lahat ng bahay doon may bomb shelter. Hindi po. Karamihan po ron, mga yung may mga kaya, of course, hindi naman sila kukuha ng mga kasambahay at saka ng caregiver personal na caregiver kasambahay kung hindi may pera yung mga yan Wala naman ako alam na Diyos na mahirap na maralita. Dito nga sa Toronto po, karamihan ng mga Diyos dito nasa pwesto Mga nasa gobyerno, nahahalal. At saka ang babait nila they're kind people. You could easily talk with them. Baka nga po magkaroon tayo rito ng program. May makakausap po ako, interesado. Pinanood ako no isang araw, last week while I'm doing my news at 4, and she'll be back probably on Friday to talk with me about his program here. Sabagat this is the only Filipino-owned radio in partnership with some friends from the other country that offers our airlines or airwaves sa multicultural community. Only Tom's Radio Toronto. Yan po. Sana po mag-ingat lahat ang ating mga kababayan dyan po sa Bethlehem. Doon pinanganak yung si Kristo, di ba? Direct. DJ sa Bethlehem. Bakit nagkakagera doon? Anyways, kayo po ba narinig nyo na ang hirap banggitin ito. Tocilizumab vials. Ano ba to? Pangkontra sa COVID-19? Sige po, pag-uusapan natin yan. Magbi-break muna ako. Hindi ko mabigkas yung tocilizumab. Ayun, sandali lamang po.
Are you an international student who has recently graduated from a Canadian post-secondary school? If you have graduated from a designated learning institution, you could be eligible to apply for permanent residency under the new pathway set out by Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. Contact Genesis Immigration Consulting.
The Manila City Government has purchased 500 additional vials of tocilizumab for the treatment of COVID-19 patient. Ewan ko kung narinig na po ninyo to Mayor Isko Moreno and Vice Mayor Hani Lacuna inspected the vials of tocilizumab which arrived on Tuesday. Clinical studies showed that tocilizumab reduces mortality and intubation among COVID patients, especially severe cases. Wow! Moreno said the drugs would be given free to patients confined in public and private hospitals, whether residents or non-residents of Manila. We will distribute tocilizumab to 6 districts hospital in the city and the Manila Health Department, Isko Moreno said. Manila City General Services Officer Telma Perez said the additional vials of tocilizumab were procured by the local government to strengthen its response against the pandemic. Perez also said the city government has allotted 13 million pesos for the procurement of tocilizumab. Wow! Ngayon ko lang narinig to, pero posible. Hindi naman pagagamit to kung hindi approved ng FDA. Ito, para daw mabawasan yung namamatay at saka intubation, yung nilalagyan po ng tubo na sa bagat, hindi na makahinga. So, ganun kabisa ito. Sa severe cases lang ito ng COVID-19. Ewan ko po, hindi ko po, ngayon ko lang nakita kasi ito, search ko po ito at tutuloy po natin bukas kung ano man ang aking makikita. Tocilizumab vials. Ayan. Sa iba pong balitang sa Pilipinas, ang National Police Commission po o NAPOCOR has approved the recruitment of more than 17,000 police officers this year. A total of 17,314 patrolmen and patrol women will be recruited by the Philippine National Police according to the NAPOCOR. Qualified recruits will receive a monthly salary of at least 29,000 pesos and allowances. May bigas pa po yun, ang alam ko. The NAPOCOR, headed by Interior Secretary Eduardo Año, issued the resolution dated April 27 approving the PNP's regular and attrition recruitment program for 2021. According to NAPOLCOM Vice Chairman Vitaliano Aguirre II, the 1,000 regular recruitment quota would be allotted to the National Capital Region Police Office to improve the police to population ratio in the region, address personnel losses due to the localization program. Loko-loko na naman nasabi ko. Marami kasing mga nag-a-apply ng pulis dito. Alam ko yun nung araw pa yun ginagamit yung padrino. Hindi naman qualified, nagiging pulis. Dahil bata noon ng mayor, bata ng gobernador. Pasok mo yan, repa, erap, akin yan. Biro mo ang height criteria, 5'6", at least 5'6". Aba, yung bata niya, yung pulis ay 5'4". Pare, kulang ka ng 2 inches Patungo mo na lang ng sapatos. Lagyan mo ng swelas ng 2 inches. Di lulusot. Bata ako ito. Well, the 16,314 attrition recruitment quota is intended to replace uniform personnel losses due to separation from the service, Aguirre said in a statement. The police regional offices with the highest number of recruitment quota are NCRPO with 5,000, Bangsamoro Autonomous Region with 1,700, Eastern Visayas 1,200, and Bicol 850. PNP Chief General Guillermo Elisiar has vowed to end the padrino. Ayun, yung sinasabi ko. To end the padrino system in the recruitment process wherein qualified applicants are bypassed in favor of other aspirants with backer in the police force. Ayan, lalo po nung araw kasi, yung kasi nung PC ala pang PNP nun. Nung malipat ang ginawang PNP, yung PC, maniwala kayo hindi, mayor ang naglalagay ng kanilang sariling police force. Ayan, karamihan po nung mga mayor nung araw kailangan meron silang mga private army. Yun po ang ating sinasabi, paramihan. Yung paliitan nga Kasi nga yung mas maliit na pulis, pag nakikibakbakan yan, Ang aim nung kalaban sa mga 5'6 na pulis, kung 5'2 lang yung tatamaan ba sa huli yung? Yuko, bata, yuko. Ayan, yung ganyan. Kaya, bata ko, sabi niya, ilan ang pamilya mo? 12 po kami. Sige, gagawin kitang pulis, boboto ako lahat. Opo. Ganun lang nang kapalit sa probinsya nun lali barangay. Kapitan, ilan ang gusto mong gawin kong pulis dyan? Pwede bubeke aking anak. Saka aking manugang, saka akin yung arigla to. Ilan ba ang butante mo sa barangay? Meron pong 1,200. Gawin mo 1,500. Dagdagan mo. Isang po kukuha ng 300. Diyan ka sa simenteryo, pabutohin mo. Lahat ng gusto mong pulis, kukunin ko. Yun ang gustong alisin ngayon ni P. Magaling itong si General Elisier. Ala na padri-padrino. Ala ng palakasan. Tama po yun. Alam niyo yung palakasan, dyan nangyayari yung... Kasi karamihan sa kapulisan, huwag naman pong magagalit. Ang asawa niyan, hindi lang isa, 2, 3, may kabit pa. Kaya ba ng sweldo 29,000 lang yun? Panghara-harabas, kaya tumatanggap ng lagay di ba? Nagagawin ng pulis. Kahit hindi gwapo, kahit hindi macho, may kabit hindi naman sila tagakabit, hindi naman sila tagakabit talagang malakas ang apil Mga macho May suksok na baril tsaka badge libre. Sasakay ng jeep, libre. Sasakay ng bus, libre. Eto, medyo ka dyan may isang pulis sumakay ng bus. Nakaupo dun sa likod. Sir, yung kwan nyo po, saan kayo pupunta? Bayad nyo. Eto, ticket. Pulis ako. Ay, libre. Sabi nung, malas, lasma, sabi nung konduktor, pulis di walang ticket, libre. Kayo po, yung katabi. NPA ito. Nagulat yung pulis. Ito po, bayad namin, 2. Ibinayad yung pulis yung katabing NPA ganun talaga yan Kahit pulis na, hindi talagang pulis, ganun na mangyayari. Padri-padri, Wala, sinalipak na katotohanan, wala na yung padri-padrino kay General Elisier. Okay. Plus flood hits. Nagbaha-baha plus flood sa Mindanao. From Coronadal City, Philippines, plus floods swept through villages in General Santos City and several towns in South Cotabato amid heavy rains yesterday night. Local officials and members of the City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council said more than 20 areas in General Santos City were submerged in flood waters. Major General Juby Max Uy, 6th Infantry Division Commander, ordered the Task Force Jensen and 601st Infantry Brigade to help in emergency response operations in affected areas. The SOC Sergeant Police was also tasked to help in flood response efforts. South Cotabato Governor Reynaldo Tamayo Jr. deployed teams to Banga Town where farming villages were affected. In Zamboanga City, hundreds of residents evacuated their homes as flash flood inundated 10 villages at past midnight yesterday. Due to rains spawned by intertropical convergence zone, the City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office said 1,830 houses were submerged in floodwaters up to 4 feet depth in some areas. City Social Welfare and Development Office Chief Maria Socorro Rojas said they distributed relief goods such as food packs to displaced families. Bigla na lang bumaha, no? Alam mo, ganun sa Pilipinas Alay mo ngayon, summer, ang init doon inaabot ng 41 hanggang 50. Degree centigrade po yun. May mga lugar nun. Sa Cabanatuan nga po sa amin, sa Nueva Ecija, laging summer yan, nagpo 43, 45. Tugigaraw, ganun din. Yung aking youngest sister, si Flora Datol Quinto, Diyan po tumutuloy Sa Tugigaraw, taga ron po yung bayo ko Si Guy Quinto. At kumpare namin yung mayor doon si Jeff Soriano, dating police general na mayor po, 2-time na. Yung pong governor ng Cagayan, kamag-anak din natin yan. Mababait po yan mga Ilocano, mga Itnig, ang babait yan. Ang init daw doon. Inaabot ng 45 degrees centigrade sa kainitan ng summer. Pupunta ka lang doon sa Batanes, ando ng malamig. Dulo na ng Pilipinas. Ang sarap daw puntahan doon Ang ganda. Kaya yung gusto magturista, pumunta po kayo, daan kayo muna ng Tugigaraw. First class city na ngayon yan. Alright, balitang sports. Proudly Filipino. Ayun. Now, a certified Filipino, Gilas Pilipinas Slatman Angelo Kawame can't wait to finally play for his kababayans in international competition like next month's FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers in Clark. Well, I seriously don't know how to express my emotions right now, sabi niya, but I am proud to be a kababayan. Kawame said upon receiving news that President Duterte yesterday signed into law the measures granting him Philippine citizenship through Republic Act 11543. Naturalization law po yun. For the Ivorian-born player, work doesn't stop with becoming Pinoy. Siya po ay isang 6'10", ang 6'10", 220 pounds. Stand out na naglaro po sa UAAP sa Pilipinas. 4 na taon. Nako. 6'10", na talagang grabe. Pilipino na. Alam naman niyo, Pilipino, bihira po ang matatangkad na player nung araw, 6-footer lang sentro na. Ngayon sa NBA, kita 6'11", gwardiya. Si LeBron James at saka mamayang gabi, alas 10, Golden State Warrior faces. LA Lakers. Nako, tindi ng bakbakan yan. First game. Second game yun, first game pala San Antonio. Ayan. Ako pupusta isang scoop ng ice cream. LA ako. Isang scoop lang. Hindi po ako pupusta sa mga ganyan Hindi ako nakikipagsugal. Well, maraming salamat po. At sana po patuloy niyo po kaming subaybay at bibigyan namin kayo ng mga latest news. Alright, hanggang bukas pong muli. Ito pa inyong kababayan mo, Balitang Bayan News at 4. Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat.
Are you an international student who has recently graduated from a Canadian post-secondary school? If you have graduated from a designated learning institution, you could be eligible to apply for permanent residency under the new pathway set out by Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. Contact Genesis Immigration Consulting